Bible verse, Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. My beloved child, before you do anything else, before your attention drifts somewhere else, before the noise of the world pulls you away, I need you to stay with me for a moment. This moment matters more than you realize. You may think you clicked on this message by accident. You may believe this is just another video, another voice, another passing moment in an ordinary day. But I tell you the truth, my child, you are here for a reason. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. This message found you exactly when it was supposed to. I know there is a part of you that has been searching for answers, searching for peace, searching for a sign that everything you have endured was not meaningless. You have asked questions in the silence that nobody else heard. You have carried burdens that nobody else could see. You have smiled when your heart was breaking. You have kept moving when every part of you wanted to stop. And through every moment I was there. I saw every tear. I heard every prayer. I watched every battle you fought behind closed doors. Nothing escaped my sight, not one tear, not one fear, not one sleepless night. My child, I know there were moments when you wondered if I had forgotten you. Moments when the waiting felt endless. Moments when the silence felt unbearable. Moments when you looked around and saw other people moving forward while your own life seemed frozen in place. You questioned yourself. You questioned your future. Some days you even questioned whether I was still listening. But listen carefully now. I never stopped listening, not for a single second. Even when you could not feel my presence, I was standing beside you. Even when you thought you were walking alone, I was carrying you through places that would have destroyed you without my protection. There were dangers you never saw. There were heartbreaks I prevented. There were doors I closed because they would have led you into greater pain. You called some of those closed doors disappointments. But one day you will call them miracles, because what looked like rejection was actually protection. What looked like delay was actually preparation. What looked like silence was actually me working behind the scenes in ways you could not yet understand. And that brings me to why you are hearing these words today. Because something is changing, not someday, not eventually. Now, can you feel it? There has been a strange stirring inside your spirit recently, a feeling you cannot fully explain. Part of you feels exhausted from the battles, but another part of you feels like something is coming, like the air is changing, like a season is shifting, like a door is beginning to move. That feeling is not your imagination. You are sensing what your eyes cannot yet see, because long before circumstances begin to change around you, I begin changing things within you, and that process has already started. My beloved child, there are things unfolding right now that you know nothing about. Conversations are happening, doors are moving, opportunities are being positioned, people are being aligned, answers are being prepared. While you worried, I worked. While you cried, I moved. While you waited, I arranged details you could never have arranged yourself. This is why I tell you not to lose heart. The story is not over. The chapter you are living right now is not the ending. It is only the beginning of something greater. And what makes this moment so important is that many people stop believing right before the breakthrough arrives. They grow tired. They become discouraged. They convince themselves that nothing will ever change. Then they stop looking. They stop expecting. They stop hoping. Do not make that mistake. Because the season you have been praying for is closer than you think. The answer you have been seeking is nearer than you realize. The breakthrough you have almost given up on is already moving toward you. But first, I need you to understand something. Your pain was not pointless. Every struggle carried a purpose. Every disappointment taught something your future will require. Every delay strengthened parts of you that success alone could never strengthen. You thought you were being buried, but I was planting you. You thought everything was ending, but I was preparing a new beginning. You thought you were forgotten, but I was shaping a testimony. And one day, my child, you will look back at this season and understand why nothing happened the way you expected. You will see how every detour served a purpose. You will see how every closed door redirected your steps. You will see how every painful moment developed strength inside you. You will see how my hand was present even when my voice seemed quiet. But listen closely, because this next part is important. There is something happening right now that you have not fully noticed. Your faith is stronger than it was before. You may not feel stronger, you may still have questions, you may still carry concerns. But despite everything that tried to break you, you are still here. You are still listening. You are still seeking me. You are still hoping. And that tells me something. It tells me that the enemy failed. The storms failed. The betrayals failed. The disappointments failed. Everything that tried to destroy your future failed. Because you are still standing. And if you are still standing, then I am not finished with you. In fact, my child, some of the greatest chapters of your life have not even begun yet. The blessings ahead of you are greater than the battles behind you. The restoration ahead of you is greater than the loss behind you. The joy ahead of you is greater than the sorrow behind you. You may not fully believe that yet, but soon you will. Soon you will see evidence. Soon you will notice signs. Soon you will begin to understand why this message found you today. Because this was never just another video. This was never just another message. This was an appointment, a reminder, a confirmation, a divine interruption in the middle of your ordinary day. And before we continue, I need you to hold on to one truth. Jeremiah 29:11 is not merely a verse, it is a promise. I know the plans I have for you, not plans to destroy you, not plans to abandon you, not plans to leave you trapped where you are, plans to give you hope, plans to give you a future, plans that are already unfolding even now. So do not let fear speak louder than my promise. Do not let doubt become your guide. Do not let temporary circumstances convince you that your story is finished. Because, my child, the reason this message found you today is simple. I wanted to remind you that I have not forgotten you. I have not abandoned you. I have not stopped working. And what you cannot see yet is already beginning. But there is something even more important that you need to understand. In the next part, I am going to reveal why the tears nobody else saw were never wasted, and why some of the most painful nights of your life may have been the very moments that changed your future forever. So stay with me, because what comes next may explain more than you realize. Bible verse, Psalm 56:8. You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. You have recorded each one in your book. My beloved child, there is something I need you to understand before we go any further. The tears you cried were never invisible to me, not one of them. Not the tears that fell openly where others could see. Not the tears you quickly wiped away before anyone noticed. And certainly not the tears that fell silently in the darkness when you believed nobody knew how much you were hurting. I saw them all, every single one. I know there were nights when your heart felt so heavy that you could barely explain what was wrong. You tried to find words. You tried to make sense of the pain. But some wounds cannot easily be described. Some burdens cannot be explained. Some battles happen so deep within the soul that even the people closest to you never realize what you are carrying. Yet I knew the thoughts you could not say aloud. I knew the fears you hid behind your smile. I knew the moments when you sat quietly, pretending everything was fine while your heart was breaking inside. My child, you became very skilled at appearing strong. People looked at you and thought you were handling everything well. They assumed you were okay. They assumed you had peace. They assumed you had answers. But I knew the truth. I saw how exhausted you really were. I saw how hard you worked just to keep moving forward. I saw the effort it took simply to get through another day. And I want you to hear me clearly. You do not have to pretend with me. You never did. You never have to act strong in my presence. You never have to hide your weakness from me. You never have to convince me that everything is okay when it is not. Because I already know, and I love you anyway. In fact, my beloved, some of your most honest prayers were not spoken with words at all. Some were whispered through tears. Some were spoken through silence. Some were expressed through nothing more than a tired sigh as you lay awake, wondering when things would finally get better. I heard those prayers too, every one of them. You see, people often believe I only hear the polished prayers, the beautiful prayers, the confident prayers, but that is not true. I hear the broken prayers. I hear the desperate prayers. I hear the confused prayers. I hear the prayers spoken by hearts that no longer know what to say. And perhaps that is where you have been. Perhaps there were moments when you stopped asking because you were tired of waiting. Moments when disappointment made you hesitant to hope again. Moments when you feared another unanswered prayer. Moments when you wondered whether expecting something good would only lead to more pain. My child, I understand more than you realize, because I have walked beside you through every disappointment, every betrayal, every rejection, every setback, every moment you questioned your worth. And that is why I need you to listen carefully now. The enemy wanted you to believe your tears were proof that I had abandoned you. But the truth is exactly the opposite. Many of those tears were evidence that I was preparing something within you. Because pain has a way of revealing things that comfort often hides. Pain reveals where healing is needed. Pain reveals what needs to change. Pain reveals who truly belongs in your life. Pain reveals where your trust has been placed. And although you never would have chosen those painful moments, I have used them in ways you cannot yet fully understand. Think about how different you are today. You are wiser now, stronger now, more compassionate now, more discerning now, more dependent upon me now. Those qualities were not developed during easy seasons. They were developed during the difficult ones. The nights you thought were breaking you were actually building you. The delays you thought were hurting you were actually strengthening you. The storms you feared would destroy you were teaching you how to stand. And one day you will see that clearly. But there is something else I want to reveal. Some of the deepest wounds you experienced came from people you trusted that hurt you differently. Because betrayal always cuts deeper when it comes from someone you loved. You expected loyalty. You expected honesty. You expected support. Instead, you received disappointment. And perhaps even now, there are names that still bring pain to your heart. Memories that still sting. Words you wish had never been spoken. Moments you wish had never happened. I know, I remember them too. But my child, holding onto those wounds is preventing you from receiving what comes next. Not because forgiveness excuses what happened. Not because the pain was not real. But because I do not want your future controlled by your past. You were not created to live trapped inside old pain. You were not designed to carry yesterday's wounds forever. You were created for freedom. And freedom begins when you place those hurts into my hands. I know it is difficult. I know forgiveness feels impossible sometimes. I know there are moments when anger feels justified. But trust me when I tell you this, the burden you are carrying is heavier than the burden of releasing it. And soon I will ask you to let go. Not today, not yet, but very soon. Because where I am leading you, you cannot carry those chains with you. Now, listen carefully, because this next truth may surprise you. Some of the tears you cried were actually protecting you from something greater. You thought you were grieving a loss, but often you were grieving something I was removing for your own good. You thought you were mourning a closed door, but I was preventing a greater heartbreak. You thought you were losing something valuable, but I was making room for something better. This is why I need you to trust me even when you do not understand me, because your vision sees a moment. My vision sees the entire journey. You see one chapter, I see the entire story. And what looks painful today may become one of the greatest blessings of your life tomorrow. My beloved child, there is another reason your tears matter. One day your story will help someone else survive theirs. One day another hurting soul will hear what you endured and realize they are not alone. One day your testimony will become somebody else's hope. Your healing will become somebody else's encouragement. Your breakthrough will become somebody else's reason to keep believing. That is why none of your suffering has been wasted. Not one moment, not one prayer, not one tear. Psalm 56:8 says that I collect your tears in a bottle. Think about that for a moment. I do not ignore your pain. I treasure your story. I remember your struggles. I value every step you have taken. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are not invisible. You are deeply known, deeply loved, deeply seen. And today, I want you to remember this truth. The tears nobody else saw were seen by me. The prayers nobody else heard were heard by me. The battles nobody else understood were understood by me. And because I saw them all, I know exactly what you need next. But my child, what you do not yet realize is this. Some of the delays that caused those tears were never punishment. They were preparation. And in the next part, I am going to reveal why the waiting had to happen, why the delay was necessary, and why what felt like God's silence may have actually been God's protection. Stay with me, because the truth behind the delay may change the way you see your entire journey. Bible verse, Ecclesiastes 3:11, He has made everything beautiful in its time. My beloved child, I know there is a question that has lived inside your heart for a very long time. A question you may have asked hundreds of times. A question you whispered when nobody else was around. A question that often returned during sleepless nights. Why did it take so long? Why did the answer not come sooner? Why did the door stay closed? Why did the breakthrough delay? Why did the healing seem so far away? Why did I remain silent when you needed me most? My child, I know those questions. I heard every one of them. And today, I want to reveal something that may completely change how you view your journey. The delay was never punishment. The delay was preparation. I know that may be difficult to understand, because when you are hurting, waiting feels cruel. When you are struggling, delay feels like rejection. When you are praying desperately, silence feels like abandonment. But what if the very thing that frustrated you most was actually protecting you? What if the closed door was an act of mercy? What if the waiting season was evidence of my love? You see only the moment you are standing in. I see every moment that is still ahead. I see conversations that have not happened yet. I see people who have not entered your life yet. I see dangers hidden beyond doors you desperately wanted opened. I see blessings still being prepared. I see details still falling into place. And because I see everything, there are times when my answer must be not yet. Not because I want to hurt you, not because I have forgotten you, not because I enjoy your waiting, but because I love you too much to give you something before the proper time. Think about a farmer, my child. A farmer can plant a seed today, but no matter how much he wants the harvest, he cannot force it to appear tomorrow. The seed requires time. The roots require time. The growth requires time. And if the harvest comes too early, the fruit is ruined. In the same way, there were things growing beneath the surface of your life that you could not see. While you were waiting, roots were developing. While you were crying, strength was forming. While you were questioning, wisdom was growing. While you were feeling forgotten, I was preparing you. Preparation rarely feels exciting. Most of the time it feels frustrating. Most of the time it feels slow. Most of the time it feels like nothing is happening. But some of the most important work happens underground where nobody can see it. The tree grows strong long before anyone sees its branches. And you, my child, have been growing in ways you do not fully recognize. There are things inside you today that did not exist before the delay. Your faith is deeper. Your discernment is stronger. Your compassion is greater. Your dependence upon me is more genuine. The person listening right now is not the same person who began this journey. The delay changed you, and that change matters, because what I am bringing into your life requires the version of you that emerged from the waiting season. Listen carefully now. What you wanted 5 years ago might have destroyed you. What you prayed for years ago may have arrived before you were ready to carry it. What you begged me to release could have become a burden instead of a blessing. That is why timing matters, because blessings given at the wrong time can become obstacles. Opportunities received before preparation can become disasters. Open doors without wisdom can lead to heartbreak, and I refuse to let that happen to you. I know there were moments when you watched other people move ahead. You compared their journey to yours. You wondered why their prayers seemed answered while yours remained unfinished. You asked yourself what they had that you did not. You questioned whether you had done something wrong. My beloved child, stop carrying that burden. Their timeline was never your timeline. Their assignment is not your assignment. Their preparation is not your preparation, and their future is not your future. I never asked you to compare your story to theirs. I asked you to trust me, because what I am building in your life is uniquely designed for you, and what takes longer to build is often stronger when it is finished. Think about Joseph. He received the dream long before he received the palace. There were years of betrayal, years of waiting, years of misunderstanding, years when it appeared that the promise had failed. But the promise was never failing. The promise was developing. Every prison was preparation. Every setback was positioning. Every disappointment was part of the process. And when the appointed time arrived, everything suddenly made sense. My child, your story contains the same pattern. There are moments from your past that still confuse you. Experiences you cannot explain, losses you do not understand, detours that seem unnecessary. But one day you will look backward and see how every piece connected. You will see that what appeared random was actually intentional. You will see that what looked like failure was actually redirection. You will see that what felt like delay was actually divine timing. Because I never stopped working, not for one day, not for 1 hour, not for one moment. Even when you could not see movement, movement was happening. Even when you could not hear my voice, I was speaking through circumstances. Even when you felt stuck, I was arranging things beyond your vision. There are people alive today who wish they had waited. People who rushed into relationships, people who forced doors open, people who demanded immediate results, people who mistook impatience for faith, and they carry scars from decisions made too early. I was protecting you from some of those scars. The delay you hated may have saved you from pain you never knew existed, and one day you will thank me for the doors that remained closed. You will thank me for the opportunities that disappeared. You will thank me for the people who left. You will thank me for the seasons that seemed empty, because those seasons were not empty at all. They were preparing the foundation for what comes next. Now hear me carefully. This next truth is important. The waiting season is almost over. I did not bring you this far to leave you here. I did not strengthen your faith for no reason. I did not teach you endurance without purpose. I did not allow you to survive those storms, only to remain stuck forever. Something is shifting, something is moving, something is being released. And the reason you can feel that stirring inside your spirit is because the season is changing. You may not see it yet, but you are closer than you think. Closer than last year, closer than last month, closer than last week. The answers are moving toward you. The doors are moving toward you. The opportunities are moving toward you. And most importantly, the understanding is moving toward you. Soon you will realize that the delay was never your enemy. The delay was one of my greatest gifts, because it turned you into the person capable of carrying the blessing. Ecclesiastes 3:11 declares that I make everything beautiful in its time, not before its time, not after its time, in its time. And my child, your time is approaching. The waiting season is teaching its final lessons. The preparation season is nearing completion. But before the breakthrough fully arrives, there is something you must understand. Something has already started happening behind the scenes. A shift has already begun. And in the next part, I will reveal why the breakthrough did not begin when you first noticed it. It began long before. In fact, what you have been praying for may already be unfolding in ways you cannot yet see. Stay with me, because the next revelation may change everything you believe about your current situation. Bible verse Isaiah 43:19. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? My beloved child, there is something I need you to hear very carefully. Something your eyes have not fully noticed yet. Something your circumstances have not fully revealed. Something your heart has sensed, but your mind still struggles to believe. The breakthrough you keep praying for has already begun. Not tomorrow, not next month, not someday far in the future. It has already started. I know that sounds difficult to believe because you keep looking around and seeing familiar circumstances. You still see unfinished situations. You still see unanswered questions. You still see problems that have not completely disappeared. And because you cannot yet see the final outcome, you assume nothing is changing. But my child, some of the greatest miracles begin long before they become visible. Think about the sunrise. The world remains dark for a time. Yet while everything appears unchanged, the sun is already moving toward the horizon. The dawn begins before the light's visible. The change begins before the eyes can detect it. And that is exactly where you are now. You are standing in the moments before dawn. You are standing in the place where movement has begun, even though evidence is still emerging. Many people miss this season because they are looking for dramatic signs. They expect lightning. They expect instant transformation. They expect everything to change overnight. But that is not always how I work. Often I begin quietly. Often I move behind the scenes. Often I prepare the answer before I reveal it. Often I change the roots before I change the branches. And that is what I have been doing in your life. While you thought nothing was happening, I was arranging things. While you felt forgotten, I was positioning people. While you worried about the future, I was already working in it. There are conversations happening that you know nothing about. There are opportunities moving toward you that you cannot yet see. There are answers forming that have not yet arrived. There are doors quietly unlocking. There are burdens beginning to lift. There are chains beginning to weaken. There are blessings beginning to move. And because you cannot yet see the complete picture, you mistakenly believe the story has not changed. But it has. My beloved, let me tell you a secret about transformation. The biggest shifts happen inside before they happen outside. Before Joseph reached the palace, he was changed internally. Before David reached the throne, he was changed internally. Before Moses led a nation, he was changed internally. Before the miracle appeared publicly, the preparation happened privately. And that is what has been taking place within you. Look at yourself honestly. You are not the same person you were a year ago. The things that once completely destroyed your peace no longer hold the same power. The fears that once controlled you have weakened. The pain that once overwhelmed you has begun to lose its grip. The storms that once would have broken you no longer have the same authority over your heart. Why? Because I have been working inside you. And what I build inside you can never be taken away by circumstances. That is why the enemy has become nervous. That is why the attacks increased. That is why discouragement seemed to appear when you were getting closer. Because darkness often reacts when light begins to rise. The enemy can sense movement before you can. The enemy can recognize a shift before you understand it. And many of the battles you faced recently were not signs that you were losing. They were signs that something was changing. The opposition increased because progress increased. The resistance intensified because movement intensified. The pressure grew because you were approaching something significant. My child, if you only knew how close you really are. If you could see what I see, if you could look beyond the limitations of today, if you could view your future through my eyes, you would realize that many of your prayers are already moving toward fulfillment. Not because of your strength, not because of your perfection, but because of my faithfulness. You keep wondering whether I heard you. I heard every prayer. You keep wondering whether I remember. I remember every word. You keep wondering whether I still care. My care for you has never changed. And because I care, I have been working long before you realized it. Listen closely. Some of the changes already happening are so subtle that you almost missed them. You recovered from things you thought would destroy you. You survived situations you never expected to survive. You developed strength where there was once weakness. You found wisdom where there was once confusion. You gained clarity where there was once uncertainty. Those were not accidents, those were signs. Evidence that my hand has been moving. Evidence that the process is underway. Evidence that the breakthrough has already started. And now I want to challenge you. Stop measuring progress only by what you can see. Stop measuring my faithfulness only by visible results. Stop deciding whether I am working based on your current circumstances. Because the greatest evidence of my work is often found in what I am doing within you. You are becoming stronger. You are becoming wiser. You are becoming more resilient. You are becoming more prepared. And preparation itself is proof that something is coming. No one prepares for something that does not exist. Preparation always points toward arrival. And you are being prepared because something is approaching. Something good, something significant, something you have waited a long time to see. Isaiah 43:19 says, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it?" Notice the question, do you not perceive it? In other words, the new thing had already begun. The issue was not whether God was working. The issue was whether people could recognize it. And today I ask you the same question. Can you perceive it? Can you sense it? Can you feel the shift that has begun? Can you recognize that the story is changing? Because, my child, it is. The season of endless waiting is ending. The season of hidden preparation is reaching completion. The season of breakthrough is beginning to emerge. You do not have to force it. You do not have to chase it. You do not have to make it happen through fear or striving. Simply trust me. Keep walking, keep believing, keep listening. Because what has already started will continue. And what has begun will be completed. Now stay with me. Because in the next part, I am going to reveal something many people never understand. The enemy thought you would quit. The enemy thought the pressure would break you. The enemy thought the waiting would destroy your faith. But what if every attack was actually evidence of your destiny? What if the battle itself revealed how valuable your future truly is? The next revelation may completely change how you view every struggle you have ever faced. Stay close because what comes next is important.